So, Steve, a question I had for you. What kind of spare parts do the average snowplow guy carry with their plow truck?
I would say a quart of fluid. You want to have like one return spring, and probably like lift cylinder hose, just so if you had to limp it home.
What about a motor relay or solenoid?
Yeah, I mean it's not a bad thing to have because if it's not working, it's done. It ain't.
Uh, it's kind of hard to answer because every plow would be different. Different brands have different issues. But your main thing would be fluid and dielectric grease and maybe a strap or chain to help hold it up if something did break on it. A solenoid on most plows is a typical wear part.
What's your thoughts on spare hoses? So they should have a spare hose for everything on the plow?
Yeah, and if people don't want to stock a lot of hoses, we tell them to buy the longest hose. That way it will cover every application in a pinch.
I'd say probably some spare hoses and some extra fluid.
Well, the main thing they should carry is solenoid, maybe a trip spring, hoses, some oil, and maybe a lift chain, because that's pretty much the things that are going to fail unexpectedly and that you can fix yourself out in the middle of the night without worrying about running back to the shop.
Well, the first thing is make sure you have some fluid and some common hoses and a motor solenoid and some of the relays, depending on which plow you have. Those are some of the most common plow parts that we recommend guys to have with them.
I think guys should definitely need some dielectric grease and some fluid and some hoses. I mean, they got to change their fluid. I recommend doing that at least every other year, but I mean, every year doesn't hurt either. That's what I would recommend to a new guy.
What about motor relays and solenoids? Is that something they should carry also?
Absolutely, absolutely. Depends on your budget. I mean, I would stick a couple angle rams on there as well. I mean, you get a heavy snow and you're plowing it at a little faster than what's recommended. You're going to blow out an angle ram, and you know that can get you out of commission. So
they should have common sense, first of all. They should have the phone numbers of several other snow plowers that can help them as a backup, because if their plow is broken, the first thing they're going to do is panic. They need to figure out who's going to help them, who's going to cover them. From that point, they need to have a basic knowledge of how the plow operates, where the fuse is that powers the control and powers the plow. Not necessarily a replacement fuse, but the ability to find it. They should carry a pair of jumper cables with them. They should have a ratchet strap with them that they can pick the plow up and locate the plow. They should carry a floor jack with them. It doesn't have to be a big one, just a small one. The common failure points are solenoids and controls. That doesn't mean you carry a $400 control, but you need to know why the control would fail and be able to go look to find that. If it's a solenoid failure, it's a $30 part. Everybody should have a solenoid, a couple of quarts of oil, at least one hose, and the tools to change those in their truck.